All right. Approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Any changes, any additions?
10D we're adding for the car park outfield grading quotes.
Okay.
Field grading. But other than that, I didn't have any other changes.
Grading.
I'll motion to approve with that addition.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of the April 10th, 2023 Park Commission meeting. I didn't see anything that needed changing. Did anybody else notice anything? No. All right, I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Signing of per diem slips, I did already. Secretary's report.
None.
None. All right. Treasurer's report. Anything to add?
It was in there. I don't think it was anything outside of regular bills.
Well, there's Mannequin Smith.
Oh yeah, the engineering fees at the bottom.
So for the engineering fees for the master plan.
Right.
So we had two separate bills for them for what they've done so far. Equaling one of them being $1,400, the other being $509.95.
Okay.
So other than that, there's no.
Any other discussion on that? If not, I can make a motion that we approve the $1,400 and the $509.95 for Mannequin Smith. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Oh, I suppose we should go. All right.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passed.
Everything else on its standard, so I'll motion to approve the treasurer's report as a whole.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. All right, treasurer's report is done.
I didn't get anything from Nancy, did you?
I got nothing from Nancy, so when she's not here, so we'll skip community ed this time. All right, presentations by first is Scott Calloway for Enable the Disabled. Scott, if you want to step up to the mic there, and thank you.
Do we have our mics on?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Yeah.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so my name's Scott Calloway. I came to one of the board meetings last year. We just started a new nonprofit about a year and a half ago now, and we had our first fundraiser last year. It's called Enable the Disabled, and we rented Samaria Park, and when it was very, very successful. And what we were asking was, since we are a nonprofit, just to get reimbursement of the fee for that. I think it was like $381. I have some flyers. If any of you are interested in, coming to it's going to be the second annual hog roast, and we have different. I know Todd last year was a sponsor for us. We have different levels of sponsorship. And just in case anybody's interested, we did raise over $14,000 last year, and 100% of that money goes right back into Monroe County. Basically, people can apply online. We have a website, and it's been a good thing. It's a lot of work, but it's been rewarding at the same time. So, in a nutshell, unless anyone has questions for me, that's kind of what I was asking.
You've got to pay and then get reimbursed?
Yeah, I've already done it. Yes, I've done that already. Carol kind of steered me in the right direction last year, so I paid already, reserved it. Samaria Park is what we got reserved this year for, I believe it's Saturday, July 22nd. And I have a couple flyers. I don't know who I should give them to, and I got some cards too if anybody's interested in seeing them.
Okay, yeah.
So I motion to allow. I motion for us to petition the township board to allow this refund to take place.
Okay. I'll second.
Worded well enough, Mr. Secretary? What do you think?
I'm just putting a motion for reimbursement.
You got it, right? Yeah. You get the point. I think we're all good, yeah.
The flyer, and then here's, in case anyone's interested or knows anybody, there's a sponsorship level and a couple cards.
Okay.
Check
Thank
out
you.
our
All right.
website. And,
Make sure you get it to the township hall so they can put it on their Facebook page and all of that stuff.
oh, just as far as the fundraiser goes? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We had 14 grand, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Talk to Al.
Cool.
Al Fryer.
Al Fryer,
Al Fryer.
Yeah, he's in charge of all the social media type stuff. So
That way, yeah, that'd be great. We didn't do that last year. I think that's a great idea. Just to get more people aware of what's going on. Like I said, I live in Petersburg, and like I said, we're just trying to help as many people that we can. So,
All right, Samaria, July 22nd. And all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Next is the Green Initiative Committee. If you just want to step up to the mic and say your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Sarah Geyer. I'm the current chair of the Bedford Green Initiatives Committee. We've actually just become active again. We had some members that were not able to keep participating, so we just had our first meeting of this year last week. And we've got a couple new members. Oh, Josh is here, and Pat. They're both also members of the committee, and we were talking about the Michigan DNR 50 Million Trees initiative. So by 2030, they want to have people around the state plant 50 million trees. So we've been talking about this since last year. Pat actually found this initiative, and we thought it could be something really cool to for us to promote. And Al Pryor at our meeting last week suggested that we come in and talk to you all and see if you may want to be involved in that. Carol, I believe that you talked a little bit with Al, and that's why we're here. He mentioned potentially starting out looking at a couple of the preserves in Bedford Township, if you all are interested in, getting some trees or to plant for them. And we also have some ideas to work with Bedford schools to try to promote that through the students and maybe the teachers in their environmental classes. So don't have a formal presentation or a final ask right now, but just that you would consider maybe working with us on this initiative and give me the next steps for how we might get that going.
Question.
Yeah.
Does it have to be any specific tree? Does it have to be on preserves, or is it simply tree planted, and keep a track and go?
Yes. There's a website to be able to track trees that are planted. So we thought we could start off as a township planting some trees, and then through our social media and other outreach, we would like to ask residents then to plant their own trees and keep track of it, and hopefully have it be like a cool township activity and something that we could promote, and maybe we could get a little competitive with other townships.
Was there a starting date to this? Like, has it already begun, that program, or
It has already begun. April of last year.
So we already planted shade trees at White Park. We could get on that list. But that's where the first thing I thought of is we put in shade trees for the baseball diamonds, and we were looking at potentially doing more.
Yeah.
So
Are you thinking that we would provide the money to purchase the trees through the parks and then you guys would plant them, or volunteers would plant them? What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, so that as a committee, we don't have any kind of budget through the township. So yeah, that's why we thought maybe we could partner if you would be able to purchase the trees. And then yes, we were planning on recruiting volunteers, and then also members of the committee. We're pretty excited to be a part of it too.
Where do the trees come from?
You know what? We don't have a specific supplier that we are tied to. We have gotten.
Have you talked to the Monroe County Conservation District at all?
We've gotten stuff through them before. We actually talked about purchasing some trees. We actually, Pat started the process on her own with the deposit, and we were going to take care of it as a committee just to kind of get things going. But then we weren't able to complete that order. So we have gotten plants through the Conservation District, and that's definitely one of the places that we would like to work with. We wanted to go with someone local.
Okay. I would suggest that for some of the areas, you stick with a white or a red oak. That's sort of, we're in the oak openings area, so, do that. I mean, maybe some maples, but you got to be careful with maples because a lot of them are very weak wood. And now that we're getting all this storms, more increased storms than we have, I think that would cause more damage. So sticking with something like an oak, I think would be a better purchase. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk further on this. We can each look at the different parks and see what we think we need at each park, and then we can get back with you and see if we can, make something happen. I'm sure we have some money in the budget that we could put aside for this.
Looks like it's called MI Trees, and they might provide the trees. I don't know. Let me read up more, I guess. But
Okay.
I know that
MI Trees, I mean, 50 million trees by 2030 has been, I think maybe like they'd match or something, and we could get trees from them.
So I can note it.
MI Tree or, I don't know. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I mean, there's a website for sure. I mean, this is interesting. I mean, there's kind of, so. But I'm sure we could come up with some money too.
And I know
Not
that
sure,
they,
but we could think about it, right?
Yeah.
MI Trees campaign, yeah.
yeah, and I know that they said they have a list of preferred trees.
Okay.
I'm sure native to the area probably
Yeah.
and better for our ecosystem. So
right.
that's definitely what we would want to do as well. So yeah, if you all, like you said, if you want to talk about what you might want to do in the preserves and if we can help out with that as volunteers. And then if it is a possibility to do anything more, like working with the schools, we'd be happy to come up with, a formal plan if you would like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let us consider it some more and get back with you on that, all right?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Lucy.
Good evening. I'm Lucy Fortin from Manikin Smith, and I'm here to talk about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. I sent last week a complete draft, and just to remind you where we're at as far as the process for adoption. I was here at Carr Park in April. We went over the survey and did a little exercise as far as what you thought were priorities. And then I went back and completed a full draft of the plan, and that's what I sent. Hopefully you had some time to look at it. It follows the format that's mandated by the state, and it's pretty similar to what used to be your last 5-year plan. And so it has a community description, an inventory of all your parks, and Carol was so kind to help me make sure that it was updated correctly. But if you saw some stuff that is not accurate, I would gladly hear about it. Then the next section really deals with assessment, needs assessment. So it takes a look at park acreage comparison, it looks at trends, and of course our survey. And then there's the goals and objectives and the action program, which I would like to spend more time on tonight and hear any comments or changes you'd like to see. That's the purpose of tonight's meeting. I also would like to seek approval from this board so that we can go out for the required month-long public review. That doesn't mean that this is done. You can still review and make changes after, but it means that it's in the state that you're happy to share it with the residents. So let's go over those goals and objectives, if you don't mind. And I don't know what you have in front of your screen there. I think we're sharing the same screen. Is that what this is?
We should be. It's not on here yet, but
So,
there we go.
okay, all right. So goals and objectives, and so that's the fourth chapter really of this, are very similar to what you used to have 5 years ago. There is a park maintenance goal that's a general goal for all parks, and it's essentially making sure that your facilities and playground equipment is updated and clean and inviting. removing barriers to universal access, refurbishing your existing facilities. All of that, this really targets existing condition and existing facilities and making sure they're up to date. The second goal has to do with park development. And this is where we're thinking about adding new stuff to your parks. It's also where you might consider new land acquisition, should those happen. Sometimes that's separated as well, but it's always a goal to keep, even if you don't have any plans to purchase anything just yet, because you never know. I mean, for example, Wheeler Preserve happened without really a whole lot of forethought from the township side, but it was something that a resident wished to donate to the township. Then the third goal has to do with connectivity. That's always been a huge goal of the township. And of course, as far as Parks and Recreation goes, you think of a way to connect your parks, if possible. And of course, you wouldn't do that as alone. You would do that with Planning Commission, with Township Board. This is a whole township-wide effort. But it really speaks to recreation as well. And the fourth goal is more administrative and operational, in being sustainable as a group, trying to seek new millage, perhaps applying for grants, and we had that also before. And establishing a Friends of the Park might be a good way to seek some foundation funds or private funds that are not available otherwise. So these have to do with your general goals, and the next chapter is really specifically about each of the parks. And there we rely completely on the survey and our previous discussion. The first action, again, speaks to the general park maintenance of existing parks. So it's more of a general goal for all parks. Then we talk about each of the specific parks. And Carr Grove has continued to repair and replace outdated play equipment, enclose the playground. That's something that came up quite a bit in the survey. Improve the south parking area, develop a walkway around the park's perimeter was something that came out, connecting to the Temperance sidewalk system. Improving and replacing tennis courts for new pickleball courts and a basketball court, upgrade of the ball field, and a new event shelter and permanent restroom building. There I'm showing here the master plan that was adopted by the Parks and Recreation Park Commission in 2021. No, maybe earlier
Before
than that.
It was like 2018, maybe 2019.
Okay, thank you. And this shows a potential for future development of the park based on the idea that you would have that perimeter parking area, a pathway, and a different parking, and an enclosed playground area. The next park was Parmalee, and you see they're improving all these actions, and I hope you had some time to take a look at this. And if you want to add anything as I'm speaking, please just speak up. I mean, we don't have to wait for the end of this. Improving the parking area was something that came out quite a bit in the survey. Adding pedestrian walkways around the property and connecting to the sidewalk on Monroe Street. Repairing and upgrading outdated and adding new play equipment, refurbishing athletic fields, replacing and add park furnishings such as benches, trash receptacle, pet waste dispensers, and a frisbee golf map. Renovating the existing picnic shelter, considering adding new facilities such as a dog park or permanent restrooms, and consider purchasing Civic Club property, which is a big portion of this, that's right next door to this, which would make the property a little bigger. In this graphic just points out to where these facilities could be. Yes.
So is the outline red for Parmley? That's what's inside the red is what's supposed to be our property?
If you don't mind, you need to speak up because I have a hard time hearing you.
It's on. It's on.
It's on.
It's just not working.
I'm just hard of hearing.
No, just it shows that the football field is in our part of the property, and it's not. It's just inaccurate.
Correct.
There's a football field?
Yeah, that football field there, that's not ours. The property line actually
That's-
follows
that's-
the tree line.
That's the Civic Club
Yellow
right
line
there.
should be red there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
We could consider purchasing it, but it's not, yeah. At the moment, it's not ours.
okay.
We'll look at the
All right.
picture there with you and show you. The red should be yellow, the yellow should be red. Over on the.
You mean I don't have the property right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can change it, I'm sure.
Well, if you would, this is where the property ends?
Right now, where he's pointing at that football
Yeah.
field, that's not ours.
Okay. So does it go like this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would the red line would go there and then the yellow line would go the other side.
Sure, I can correct that, no problem. Samaria Park. Samaria Park, there's been talk about resurfacing or improving the drainage in the park. And that did come up in the survey quite a bit. Expanding the parking area as feasible. We are limited in this space. I think we took a pretty good look at this and determined it would be a hard way to find space to really make this a big increase. But there's a way to really reorganize this parking lot to really capitalize on a number a little better. Repairing, removing, replacing outdated play equipment, refurbishing ball field, adding park furnishings, such as benches, pet waste dispensers, and trash receptacles. I think you see this type of thing quite a bit. Add pedestrian walkways to the roadside, connected to the road sidewalk here, and that's what's highlighted in yellow. And then consider really upgrading or looking at the wooded area and creating some nature walks over there. That would be tremendous.
Chris, can you go back to that one for a second? Is that much of the wooded area ours?
Yep.
That's really all park board? That much of the wooded area?
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think it was that big. That's like 2 times
I
the
know.
size of the park
Exactly.
as it presently.
Yep.
It's a ton. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you used to have a trail back there, but it grew over.
White Park. Of course, we talk about looking at that playground area, and hopefully we can do that. And paving the parking area, adding walkways to connect all these activity areas within the park. This is one of your best park, I mean, in terms of what people prefer. So it's really central as well. And improving drainage is something that's seen as important here. Repairing, replacing play equipment, adding an inclusive playground, continuing to upgrade the ball fields, adding more pickleball courts, upgrading and adding picnic shelters that are connected to the walkways, replacing, adding park furnishings, benches, drinking fountain, trash receptacles, pet waste dispensers, adding a map with the areas, walkways and pathways. A lot of people go into the park to walk and also connect to Indian Creek area here across. And consider adding new facilities, permanent restrooms and other amenities. The permanent restroom idea is coming for all the parks. I'm not sure it's necessarily feasible. One other thing I want to point out, though, is when we were doing some research and looking at CAR, and I'm backtracking a little bit, just to point out this piece here. This is a concrete permanent restroom that can be plucked in a park. It used to be in between 80 to 100,000. They aren't that expensive, and they're easy to connect and use. So if you were interested, that is affordable, I want to say, amenities, if you were interested in bringing that in some of your parks.
The problem right now is we have people vandalizing.
Well-
Vandalize the porta potties. They
Right.
really have a field day with those.
Yeah, well, you can lock them, and what's good about this is it's all concrete, so you can power wash them as well. Going on to Ansted Park, we're finished with White. Ansted, expanding the walkway system. This is a lot of people use the park for walking and continuing to plant native plants. This is seen as a beautiful park. In fact, I was privy to getting some of those beautiful pictures that are on your website that were done, and there were some beautiful pictures of Ansted, and I use those pictures in the master plan. I hope you noticed that because they're really pretty tremendous. Adding a viewing platform, more birdhouses, and nature interpretive signs would be a great add to this park in particular. Wheeler Preserve, in the same vein as Ansted, is really more of a nature park, and continuing to remove invasives is critical in this park. There's quite a bit of it. And planting native trees and grasses. You have a really beautiful little prairie here that you can capitalize on, and that really represent well what's the oak opening area of this particular part of the country. And this was, I'm showing the master plan here, which also was adopted about the same time as Cars Grove in 2018, and shows ideas for additional pathways and the kind of low-key, if you will, type amenities you could put into the park, such as a council ring or some more benches. And this is the Aldo Leopold bench that would be, then interpretive signs would be a great add-on to that as well. So this is Wheeler Preserve. The next few other actions have to do with more township-wide. One is the connected pathway, and I've just included the concept that's still valid for the township. And with that, of course, there's a lot of actions that are combined with other boards, Township Board and Planning Commission, because this is more of a township-wide effort. There is a PAC assessment still, which is the Promoting Activity Communities assessment by Michigan Fitness Foundation. It's one of the things that organization can do that really encourage working with other groups within the township and come up with new ideas for approaching creating active communities. And one of the things is pathways and bicycle ways. So these are ideas there to continue for actions. Parkland acquisition, we mentioned, always having that goal is a good thing, because this is something that can be sought for a grant, which you were privy to in the past. Providing for the efficient administration of parks, again, more of a general goal as far as trying to seek a millage, perhaps, which you used to have. Making sure the public is aware of all the work you do and aware of their parks. A lot of people did not know about the Wheeler Preserve in the survey, so you as park commissioners are also advocates for the parks. You work a great deal, and so it's important to make sure everybody's aware of this. So, in short, this is really what I consider the meat of the plan, and I'm here to seek your approval and hear any changes or add-ons to this you would like to see.
I noticed, Lucy, you mentioned not tonight, but in the master plan here, it mentions Indian Creek Park, which I think we need to make sure the public's aware that that is not one of our parks that belongs to the schools.
Right.
And so I know people commented about it and said, well, you know, they liked this particular park, and that's great, but it's not ours. So
Right.
just need to make that clear, even though it's mentioned in the master plan.
So did it change to the name, did the name change to Indian Creek something
No,
else? No?
Still Indian Creek, I believe, yeah.
Everything's the same as
It was-
or the park as it was before. It's just we have zero control of that park.
Right.
It's been fully returned to the school board.
Anybody else have any comments? Anything they want to add or take away from it or change? No? So the next step, Lucy, is to get a public meeting, is that correct?
No, the next step is really to advertise this for a month-long public review.
Public review.
So I'd like, if you're okay with the way it shows, and that gives you more time to review this, and if you want to bring changes, we can do that. So I would start right away. I mean, I've got the notice ready. I would ask the clerk department to put that out, and hopefully it can be in the paper as early as the end of the week. And this could be on the website for public viewing. It needs to be 30 days out there. That's the required public review comment. And then we would meet again on June 12th. That would be after the 30-day period. And at that meeting, we would go over any comment received or anything else that you see here that you would like. Following that, we would have a public hearing at the township board level, and that would be on June 20th, if all goes well. And we can, but the June 12th meeting would be the meeting that you would approve this and recommend township board adoption.
Hey, Lucy, okay. You keep saying that it's required. Who's it required by?
The state of Michigan.
For
DNR.
For grants?
For this document is state mandated by the MDNR, and it needs
what?
to be submitted online.
For grants, to apply for grants?
You have to have that for a grant, yes.
Correct. So if we're going for grants, this is important. The problem I have with this is that this is just regurgitated. We paid $10,000 or $7,500, and this is all, you want us to maintain what we have, improve what we don't have, and look at new stuff. There's not one new idea on this list that we haven't come up with that wasn't in the previous master plan, that nobody followed in the previous master plan. So I'm disappointed that we've invested this money and there's nothing here. We spent $10,000 and we got 300 replies from local residents. We got 1% of our residents to reply to our survey. We could have given each person who filled out the survey $30, and we would have still saved money. Where is there, and you're talking about having another meeting to look at this and change this and approve this, and I don't see why we're investing this much time and this much money into it. We've gone for 2 grants now that I know of, maybe more, maybe 3, that we've gotten turned down for. We've got our own township that won't give us any funds. So it seems like we're throwing good money after bad to continue to invest in this. Is there any way that we can expedite the process or make it more cost effective at this point?
We're at the end of the process, so
Right.
really,
I
at
mean, the
this point,
30-day public, you have to put it out for public view. It's mandated by the state. We don't have an option. So we just need to finish the process
that's
at this
correct.
point. We can change some things. You know, if you want to add something, we can certainly talk about it and see if she can add it to the plan. But basically, we're going on what our suggestions were, the former master plan, and what everybody replied to with the survey.
We also included the new master plans that were not part of the park master plans, the Wheeler Preserve and the Cars Grove Park master plan that were not part of the previous plan.
Right.
and there are new ideas in there.
Okay, I did notice, Lucy, before the meeting, I thought I would check, and if you want to put it in the Bedford Press, tomorrow is like the deadline for putting this in the Bedford Press, so it'll come out in their next issue. Otherwise, we're going to end up waiting till like mid-May, which I think you probably don't want to do. You want to get it out as soon as possible.
Well, typically, the clerk's department, I think they publish in the Monroe News.
Okay.
So are you saying you?
But a local thing, I'm saying, if you want to get it in the Bedford, local Bedford Press, the cutoff date is tomorrow.
And do you have a contact, or is the clerk department aware of?
No,
where
that
to go?
we just, if you have something, you just let them know and they'll put it in and bill us accordingly.
Okay. All right. So I kind of need a motion from the group to approve distribution or for draft plan for public review. That's the way.
I'll make a motion that we approve this plan for public review, a draft plan for public review.
Second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move with that. Public comment.
Okay, way too much. Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. Is that slow enough, Andrew? I'm sorry, I was talking too fast again. Okay.
Gail, you should get a stamp and just bring a stamp with you at every meeting.
Hey, I've tried, but you know how I am, so. Let's touch base here. Green Initiative. Well, it's all fine and dandy, and it's great and wonderful, but the Michigan DNR, the 50 million trees are not all supposed to be planted in Bedford Township, so we have to use our heads, and they should be native. And it's a good thing, but they've got to be put in the right place. And to buy local is what Mr. Peroni wants, and we can't always get what we need local. Conservation District sale, that was done last weekend. So that's a no-go. That's done and over with. Carr Park, as far as the master plans go, that park was exposed because of bad planning with the TAP grant. There was a fence. They took it down. Then they put something up pretty, and now you're going to get stuck having to pay when that TAP grant should have taken care of that and made sure that that park was safe. So that's a sad thing. We have bad choices in the bushes, in the landscaping. Your maintenance people will complain about it. White, it's on a slope. It's not a place for an inclusive playground. There could be a better place for that. Indian Creek was put together for youth softball by the parents back in the day for the girls. The township needs to fully support and not antagonize your efforts. It's a known fact that you guys are constantly under attack here. The future, however, is for the 5 years. Whether you'll be the board or not, that's the concern. And so there's always an opportunity for grants. You've got to do this. The township has to do it. So you're just going to have to bite the bullet and do the best you can. I mean, it's really sad, but we've got to have some sort of planning. And you are not allowed to use the Bedford Press for legal notices. That's a known fact through Trudy. So we have that particular thing, but yeah, it's all fine and dandy, and our parks are a wonderful asset, and it's really sad that you guys are having to face all this. So you know where I stand, and those are my 2 minutes. I'm going to dance because it's, you know, what's the show tonight? That's we're down to the 12 finals. So all right.
Anyone else? Public comment? No? All right. Unfinished business. Baseball contract update. Does anybody have, other than I talked with Phil Goldsmith today, he does not have the contracts ready. He is waiting for the names of the teams. He wants to put the names and the contact person in there.
I don't want that from him.
And you didn't want that from him. So we need
We
to.
don't need him to bill us hours
need
to fill in names when we can fill it in
talk
ourselves.
about
We want a
it.
blank that we can keep on file, so when contracts are up for renewal,
Okay.
we can put in new dates, we can put in new names if necessary.
And we
I
don't
told
need
him that
billed by
last
a
time.
lawyer.
So I told him that last time. We will
So
talk
no
with him
update.
again. So we're still, yeah, no update, nothing new.
Nobody technically right now on any of the fields is under a contract currently.
Right.
They're doing all of the work and the maintenance and everything going on out of the goodness of their hearts.
All right. Picnic tables. There was a complaint came in a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, to the township about the condition of the picnic tables. We've talked before about getting them sandblasted or something to get that peeling paint off and leave it just the aluminum surface so we don't have to paint it. The problem is, of course, getting somebody to bid on that. I called around and there's one person that said they would do it for $100 an hour, and they expected those tables to take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, which I think is a bit long, but I don't know anything about sandblasting, so it could.
take that long.
Yeah. Someone else I called, and they said they'd do it for $100 a table. Another person, they said they would do it for, like I said, $100 an hour. So there's a person local who Al knows, and he's going to get us an actual bid, but the gentleman said he would do it for $100 a table. So I think that's
Is it the same guy?
least we're going to get.
For $50 a table?
I don't know. Who was
Al's
that?
gonna do- Or Al's neighbor, who was going to do it for $50 an hour.
Who was that guy? Do you remember?
$50 a table? I don't remember his name.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because we initially started this process and had a couple of them done. Yeah.
Yes.
We had one done, and it was fantastic done, but it's,
I had a guy lined up to do them all. We voted on it, we approved it. He has no interest in working with the township.
Do it, okay.
But so it was a complaint about the car park tables, not all tables in the park?
Right, it was about car park
So
tables,
maybe
but
we
I
can
thought as
just
long as
move
we're,
some over from Parmalee or something.
if we were doing them, we should probably do them
problem
all
around.
at some point.
Yeah.
Start it and,
I mean, they're.
yeah. But where are you going to get them from, though? I mean,
We have
they're,
a bunch
maintenance
of
has
it at
begun
Pavilion.
mowing, but they don't have time to.
Are they in
move
good
tables
shape?
around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll go look at them.
are they the same time they're aluminum? They're all the same, or are they wooden? Some were wood, I
Look
think.
at them and see. But there's
Okay.
a bunch in there, and they hardly get used.
I mean,
Well, so
as
yeah,
far
they're
as the
fine.
line item goes, and I mean, yeah, we're open to getting them done. It's a matter of finding somebody to do it. So.
Right, right.
Yeah, if you can get written quotes, Carol.
That's what I got to do.
I'd vote yes on them.
Okay. I'll see what else I can do. But like I said, the one guy didn't want to touch it. He said he would do it, but then he wants to coat it, which we didn't want to do. We wanted to keep it just aluminum. So, yeah, he's out. So I got like 2 quotes and that's it. But I'll keep trying, see if I can get another one. Okay, tennis pickleball estimates. Have we succeeded in getting anything? Anybody hear anything from the pickleball group? Whether or not, I know that one guy was trying to get some information on the pickleball and tennis court recoding. What's his name?
I can't remember all. I'd have to look back in notes.
First name Steve.
Steve,
There's
yes,
been
Steve.
no success in getting actual quotes.
Okay,
For it, so.
so that's not happening right now.
But, well, really,
That's going to be
you can't, it's not
a
gonna be.
full season process.
It's not, well, they're not gonna be like hey, go get 3 bids and we can vote on them. It's gonna surpass $20,000 by far.
Hands down.
So,
Going to have to go out for bid.
yes.
It's going to have to go out for bid. It's going to have to be established of what we want.
we need a
We
spec
know
put
just
together.
surface coating over again is just band-aiding it for another season
Well,
until they crumble
Over at
again.
White Park, well, so the schools had their courts, and I believe completely torn out and redone just a few years ago. They've got the same cracks White Park has already.
Yep.
I am not.
No, that
It's
mic
on.
has not been
It's
working.
It doesn't work.
It was working earlier. It's it's just not working.
Whatever.
So yeah. But regardless, I don't think replacing them is going to fix the cracks. I mean, it's going to.
At White, no, it would,
For what I can see, they don't last. I've been looking into some different solutions and doing a little bit of research. I found some ways that seem to be really good.
ours, we already established and knew that that's going to be a
Like
full
car,
ground
yes.
replacement, which
I
2
think-
years back when we got an initial quote and bid with the coating and doing it, the striping, all of that from bottom up was going to be roughly a $90,000 to $95,000 project. I would assume with pricing the way it is and everything, plan on a $100,000 project. That's a full,
Could plan on more if we expanded them a little bit.
right.
And
That's what I'm
did-
saying.
It was, when we got the quotes, it was going fencing.
No, I mean, no, I expanded even further beyond.
Like
the
where that
fence.
workout,
Where
little
that workout area is.
and adding the,
To add a
full
tennis
court
court, because
level.
right now, you could either do 6 pickleball courts in the 2, or just 2 pickleball courts and a tennis court. But if you did 6 pickleball courts there, and then 1 full tennis court added on to where the current
fitness.
dilapidated fitness area is, and then we could do away with the temporary nets at White Park,
And they would
and
make
only
sure-
have permanent nets throughout the entire
Correct.
community. We're not worried about,
Correct.
bench boxes to store stuff in and replacing nets that
Correct.
are mishandled and stuff. But like I said, it would have to be put out for bid,
100%, yep.
but we need a spec for it. So I don't know what direction everybody else would want to go with it.
Because you'd have to tear down one of the fences anyway, so you could tear down.
Yeah.
the floor to get in there.
You could tear down the east fence, expand it east,
Yeah.
and then put up new fencing.
Right.
So do we know the company that did them at the high school?
The gentleman came down and I met with him at White Park and Carr Park. And that's the company that did the high school. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. I think it was Best Asphalt, maybe.
Would he be able to help with the specs and then we can put it out for bid at least? Not that it'll
He said there's engineering and design companies that they use. They don't do that themselves. They're an installation company.
Well, not to mention the fact that if they had them done 2 years ago and it's already cracking, that's not a great sales pitch.
Yes. So, well, he didn't tell me. I went over and looked at the courts.
Oh, I'm
he
sure
told me
he
they
didn't
redid
tell
them.
you, yeah.
Well, after our meeting, he said he was going to look at them because it'd be the first time I think they looked at them since they had done them. So,
So we need to get some specs, basically.
Correct.
And some money.
well, that's another thing. We have some money. So, since the township, since our fund has been changed and pushed into the general fund, the rainy day fund that we used to have to keep at 50% of our budget is no longer needed to keep at 50% of our budget, and we are now allowed to spend the entire rainy day fund because now the township is responsible for that 50%. From my understanding. So our entire rainy day fund that we had before, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is north of $200,000, is available.
That's not there.
It's there. It's out there. So
It's there, Chaz. Had a budget meeting today with Rob and Trudy. They did that budget meeting that we weren't able to attend, so we met with them today, and Bob even said, you guys have like over $200,000 at your disposal right now. So that's what happened with that. They took away the rainy day fund because it's in the general fund now.
All right, so the next option, I guess, then is we want to
we could put
get
out.
some,
We could put out for bid through the clerk's department
Yep.
for somebody to design the pickleball / tennis courts for Carr Park. Is what I would recommend doing.
I'll second that if you want to make that a motion.
Yes, I'll make that a
We
motion.
need that emotion, just let's get it.
We'd have to
Oh,
put
yeah.
something out for bid. It has to be a motion.
Yeah.
So,
We're bidding the design, though.
Right.
Yes, putting out for
The
bid,
specs.
design plan spec to put out for bid for installation companies to bid on. So that way everybody's bidding the exact same project with the exact same outcome. So we're not getting multiple bids for multiple different ideas. So it's everything's gonna be apples to apples, and
How much do you think that should cost?
not a clue.
Ask Mannequin Smith.
I know,
Right
right?
there.
Well, I'm more like, I would think if we asked the pickleball community to get behind this, they would be very helpful in that regard. But then again, we can't just
They don't know
get
specs of-
specs from random people and everything. So
depth of the pour and the
right.
They know
So
they want.
They know what they
6
want.
courts.
in
If
terms
you're
of
5 to
courts,
10%
right?
of the
Like,
project, which is probably accurate, you're probably $5,000 to $10,000.
That would be my
to get
guess.
it drawn up.
To get
Yeah.
it drawn up.
To drawn up a slab of concrete.
And we have to bid installation companies
project
to
itself.
come
Right.
do the work.
I mean, put it out there.
Oh, it's step one,
You can always put it out for bid and then just not award it.
or that.
Right.
So, yeah, I will second Chris's motion to get a public bid put out to get specs drawn for car park
right.
court replacement.
Aaron?
Yeah, second. I mean, you want me to second it or?
I seconded
no,
it.
just
Yep.
You seconded it, then aye, yes.
Aye.
Carol, aye.
Chris, aye.
No.
Motion passes.
I just want to confirm that we have the money just to do it. Actually.
All right, Parks update, Anstead.
No, we had a
we-
10D.
Oh, sorry,
normal?
10D, you're right.
When we put them all out?
Quotes for outfield grading.
138
Correct. So I sent it to you guys. I don't know if you got the quotes or reviewed them.
could
Bob
also
Coles
back to
from
last year's
Bedford
bill.
Black Ops.
Hey, buddy, sorry.
Bob Coles from Bedford Black Ops did us the favor of going out and doing the legwork for the outfield grading and reseeding and that where it drops dramatically in left field if you're standing at home plate. They would look to have this work done in the fall after the season when it's the right time to plant and actually get the grass seeded and ready for winter. Got 3 quotes for companies to come do it: Bedford Lawn and Snow, Brighton Lawn, and looking MLS Property Maintenance. Had a range of numbers, all same thing: 150 tons of topsoil, tearing out of the back portion of that infield since it's only a 12U and under field as is, getting the stone, getting that all cleaned up, and then reseeded, and then each one of them also included 4 treatments of fertilization to actually have the grass take and grow and not just be left with a dirt field. His recommendation, as well as mine, would be Brighton Lawn and Landscape, which came in at $9,440. Bedford Lawn and Snow had exactly the same thing, quoted at $18,000. MLS Property Maintenance was the same exact thing, quoted at $14,850. Brighton is a local company. I've seen their work. I've done work with them. That's who I recommended. That's who he was recommending and who he would plan to go with. Basically just putting it out there to, if we wanted to get this done, he did the legwork and we have quotes. So I'll make a motion to, let's get this done in the field. It's planned for fall after the season. They're doing the rest of the field upgrades and the fence line and the infield and everything of that nature. So I'll motion to approve Brighton Lawn and Landscape to do this.
You want to spend $15,000?
No, Brighton Lawn and Landscape is
9 something, I think.
9,440.
Okay, then you're going to be prepared to also give 3B money to fix theirs, because they wanted $10,000 to fix their infield where it meets the outfield, and it's a hazard because it's a tripping issue and the ball bounces
Sure.
out.
We've got $200,000 sitting there. We haven't been doing
Samaria.
projects. We need to spend our money.
And then Samaria and Parmalee, where Select has invested all of their resources. I just think, okay.
Vote no. I'm putting a motion out there. I don't know if you guys want to do it. Any second?
I'll second. Okay. All right,
So you got the bids and we're going with the 944.
yes.
Yep. Which is, again,
Yeah, you did the work.
it's removed stone roughly 30 feet of the baseball field where it's basically been overgrown and it's covered in weeds and it doesn't look like a field. 150 yards of topsoil, round and regrade outfield, seed the field for fertilization applications throughout fall and then into spring too, so that all the seeding takes.
All
And
right,
that's for that heavy low spot in left field where it just completely dips and is.
It's quite a lot cheaper than the other two.
yeah.
So, I mean,
I've never been out there in the rain. What does that do?
It's the wettest spot. It's
Right.
you know, where you drive back to the maintenance building.
Right.
It's all of that zone where it just collects water.
Right, but it's still just going to collect water. You don't put dirt on top of mud, it just makes more mud. So you're,
It'll actually be grass,
okay.
but it is raising the field level with that much topsoil to actually be a level, and that's the point of it, is to level that all.
Is there
grade that
a,
all.
is there a ditch back there by the train tracks that you could actually run?
I know there's on the
drainage tile
opposite,
too?
There's
On the opposite side of the train tracks.
which runs along Village Meadows neighborhood.
If you're going to grade it up, I wonder if you could still put drain tile in it to move that water back to the train tracks,
Potentially.
because otherwise you're just
For another 10,000.
raising up the mud pit.
Potentially pushing it towards our buildings where we have water
Already
issues,
drainage problems.
drainage issues at the moment. I think it's a great idea. I just don't think it's feasible to spend $10,000 at one of the diamonds.
Just love ideas for where we're spending 200,000 because we have money sitting there and we haven't been doing a thing. We've tried to
Right.
get tables approved.
Right.
This probably won't occur because I'm sure the township will turn it down when we can't get tables replaced at halls. So we might as well try something. That's my whole thought process behind it.
Well, you've done the legwork on it. We've got a motion.
No.
So, I mean,
Bedford Black Ops did the
Yeah.
legwork for us.
okay, they did it for us.
I went out and got 3 quotes and did all of this.
So we're ready. And Aaron?
Sure, aye.
Okay, Andrew?
Aye.
I vote aye.
Nope.
No from Chris. Chaz?
I vote aye with the note that I hope all the other clubs that have fields that are using come after this money too.
All right, motion passes. All right, moving on to the parks update. Ansted is set to get a interpretive sign along with Wheeler. I guess I can mention those at the same time because that's the only comment I have on both of those. Should be up this month, well, let's say by the end of May. It's supposed to be up by the end of April, but you know, it probably won't happen this week. So yeah, by the end of May, those signs will be up and going. And that's all I've got for that. Cars Grove?
No update.
No update. Parmalee?
No update.
Okay, all right. Samaria?
Samaria and Car Park, the Porta Johns are being vandalized again. We put out some posts on social media, letting the community know, because we've already had instances where Porta Johns aren't there because Stevens disposal or portable toilet shows up to clean them, and they end up having to pull them without the expectation of having to pull them. So we end up without having units at the parks. We've been directed by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to start to file reports, and I've talked with Stevens Portable Toilets, and they are going to be the ones reporting and talking with the Sheriff's Department in hopes to do something and help prevent this from happening in the future. I know last year we did a few things and it did stop for a while, and this is the first time I think we've had an issue in probably at least 6 months. So
Well, they've just recently been put back out other than the.
well, they've
all the
been out.
handicap
They
one
each
was out all the way.
since the weather change, we've had more, but we have had them.
Yeah, that's true.
But it also seems that the ADA, the handicap accessible units, are the ones that are mainly being targeted. So.
Because the other ones don't have a floor.
Other than that, that's the only update that I have.
White?
Nothing new.
Anything on the basketball court tile? Did he end up getting in there with that nice weather?
No, he was gone last week, so he was not able to get in there. He is going to be there next week to put it in as long as the weather stays dry. And some of the paint on the lines of the court is peeling off, and as soon as the weather levels out, he's going to redo all that under warranty.
Oh, good. All right. Pocket Parks.
Was this park you guys were talking about last time, which isn't really a park, but next to that Garth's store on Lewis? Like if you
Run that same.
It runs
stream
along-
runs back in there, yeah.
along their parking lot.
Correct.
No,
No,
That's not the.
that's not the same.
it's the same stream or
It's
the ditch
same-
we were talking about.
Probably. It's
What
the same
green
neighborhood.
space were you saying that would be?
It's off of Hooverdale.
Yeah, you come
which is
off
of
Smith Road.
Okay.
A little further.
That
in.
neighborhood's all that whole block
Okay. Okay.
between Lewis, Smith.
So if you
Jackson
go down,
and Stearns.
if you go down Hooverdale, it's both sides of Hooverdale Road on the north side of the drainage ditch.
Nice. Okay. I was looking at it from Lewis, so that's why I
Same
thought it.
drainage ditch, just back.
Yeah, right there wouldn't work, but okay, I'll look at the other spots. Okay. All the other ones are fine. It happens.
All right, that brings us to comments from the public. Any other comments? Round two.
That's excellent. I'm putting it on here.
Okay, you go right ahead and do that. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? Pocket Park. I've been looking, some of that Hooverdale and whatever, remember it's a county drain. You can't plant or put anything into that 50-foot from the center on either side. However, you do have an issue. There's one of your Pocket Park Centennial, you've got kids' toys. I mean, there was like a ramp, and that's on the property. And I know you discussed the last time because it was unkept and you wanted maintenance to clean it up. But there's like a skate ramp and some trucks and I don't know what all else. You need to send letters to the adjacent property owners and remind them that those parks are not for their private use. Their children's toys need to stay in their own yards. And if they can't behave and be taught, then you need to fence it and just be done with it. The other thing in your master plan, you need to find a spot to put in there the contracts that you want for these parks. That's what you need to do. Put that as part of your master plan, your contracts, what you want, how you want to get them updated. And I would suggest for your pocket parks, since you can't really keep an eyeball on them totally, get some people to volunteer. It used to be that the neighborhoods took care of these pocket parks. Sell the ones that you need to get rid of, and the rest of it put in Friends of the Park system and establish that group. Those people can actually raise money. They can be listed as a 501c3 program within it. It's kind of like the advisory there for the library and stuff. But you could have your people in those neighborhoods assigned specifically, make them apply, make sure they're people that you approve of, and have them be your ears, eyes for your pocket parks. And that would probably take care of a big problem for you. But yeah, that one on Centennial needs a fence that runs across this direction here, because you're assuming a liability for those toys that are on that lot. So, all righty, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Gail. All right, commissioners' comments. Anything, Karen?
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to add is when you guys do have these bids come back and you need approval from the board, one, you guys have to show up to present them. You can't just submit it and then, because I know that's what happened with the tables. With the quote you guys sent to the board, the pictures did not, the whole quote was off. Nothing matched what you presented, and nobody was there to answer our question. So when you guys do send something to the board, one, you guys have to show up, present it, or it's going to get turned down. I'm just telling you that right now.
You advocate for us though, right?
Yeah, but if they have questions, I can't answer them. I can just say, because that's even what I said for the tables. I'm like, they need these tables. It's been on the board forever. Well, then the quote that we had, the pictures, it was nothing matched. So that was the problem.
I had said a while back I'd try to go to township meetings. It's tough. I don't know. Another night a week. I've never been able to swing it where I'm here and also be able to go there. But
You don't have to go to all of them.
no, I know the ones. If we just
you guys need something, one of you guys need to be there to present it. Is what the library board does it every time they ask for money.
Sure.
One of them will be there to present it, and because somebody always has questions.
So that one that we approved.
That was my next question. Since we already approved, do we need to reapprove the tables, or can we just get it on their agenda and one of us be there to answer questions?
Well, that's probably the way to
Do it now
go.
so that you can do it at the same time as your baseball.
Yeah, that's I was
Exactly.
the baseball one, right? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do we need
Make
to
a motion to reapprove the tables.
Your commissioner comments.
Make sure it's correct though, because like look at that.
Which I'm curious what was submitted to the board, because I didn't submit bids with pictures or anything. So
No, the pictures I got, because I didn't have what you had, and I was trying to scramble around to find something comparable.
yeah,
What we got is
no idea what
plastic
these pictures
tables,
are.
plastic tables, and there you go. That was the reason, yeah. Because we changed. We were looking at plastic tables, and then we went to wooden tables. Well, there's nobody else.
So
Is it next week, Tuesday?
You know.
Is the next meeting?
what would be the next meeting that this would get on the agenda?
If it's next Tuesday, you'll have time to get it on the agenda this week. If it's tomorrow, it isn't happening.
Can you go next Tuesday, Andrew? Or
I'll
Yeah,
try to
it'd be
make it a
nice if Andrew
point.
could make it.
I don't know.
So just to cover ourselves, I'm motioning to reopen the 3 exact same bids we had for tables to be presented to the board and actually presented so we can get an approval. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So you're going to present those and the baseball
All in one.
all in one. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
Get him on the agenda, please.
Yeah.
Todd, can you get those and make sure those are on the next agenda?
All right. Any other comments?
Nothing else.
Nothing else? Okay. I have a couple of things. Chaz, I was at the Monroe Community College Earth Day that they had this weekend, and there were several food trucks. So I went ahead and got the names of them. I'll send you those. I couldn't get business cards. I was trying to get business cards. Nobody had it, but I've got the names. And if you want to add those to our list or pick and choose, there was good coffee one there, Mexican, roast beef kind of thing, you know. So I'll give you those, and and then you can add those. The other thing was our grant, the grant that we went for the inclusive playground. We finally got some feedback back from them. Basically, what they said is we met 80% of the amount that we needed to, so like 80% score. We need to come up with the other 20%, so we've got to do some more legwork on that and some paperwork, and I'll bring you up to date when we do more of that.
Did they tell you specifically what that 20% was?
There's 2 items. One is the social aspect, and one is something to do with, I don't know, I can't remember the title right now, but yeah, we know which 2 they are, and we'll be working on those. And I can let you know when we get there. Any other comments from you? Nothing? Jess? Nothing? Okay. All right, I need a motion to adjourn in that case.
Next meeting's listed for Township Hall. Are we back to, can we go to the parks again?
Are we going to be, my
Like,
question with
This was
that
supposed to be temporary.
is, yeah.
I would like to
and
be back at the halls, seeing them, and
My question is, with all the rain we've been having and stuff, are we going to have another flooding issue? We need to address that at CART. We need to figure out what drainage we can
no
do
idea.
in the front, you know.
I've talked, Pat's been working on getting quotes and
Okay.
looking into, he had some companies come out and take a look at the doors, and the seals at the bottom of the doors are bad and gone, and that's where the water is coming in at.
yeah, work order was put in before winter for that. Yeah.
Well, at least something's been
Yeah,
done.
as far as I know, it's only happened once in the
Once, and it was the monsoon we had.
Yeah.
Right.
It happened a few days after that as well with the small snow. But it could have been because the
Yeah,
ground was
'cause there was
saturated.
still-
Yeah, yep. So,
So you're saying May 8th?
I think it's happened before because
Let's
right where the
start
water
May
was
8th.
sitting,
The next
floor
meeting would
itself
be
is
the 8th.
damaged, and
Go
not
back to
from
Car
just
Park.
that. I mean, it's.
I'm just asking because it's still listed as Township Hall.
But one of them was the next time it happened was a rental. Somebody was in there renting it and they had to clean it up. So, motion to adjourn.
I motion we go
Okay.
back to Car Park on May 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All right, I'll second.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is concluded.